Well, hello, my name is Joe Klemz, and I am the CEO and founding owner of Real Life Counseling located in Western Washington. I'm also a certified EMDR therapist and soon to be approved consultant for EMDR as well, which is something that we're all working towards, and it takes a while to get. And I am proud to be able to have that because I enjoy teaching. This video is going to be about getting certified as an EMDR therapist. So it's going to be predominantly directed towards an EMDR therapist who has just completed or will complete the basic weekend 1 and weekend 2 training. And so if you're a client looking at this video, you're going to get a little glimpse into some of the background and how we do some training, and that's totally cool. And for you therapists, I wanted to give you an understanding, if you're going to work with me, if I'm going to be your consultant as you are on the road for certification, I wanted to give you a glimpse into how I go about doing that. And so consultation versus supervision is something I want to talk with you about. I wanted to give you a talk about in terms of what I focus on in consultation and what are some of my specialties, so you can kind of know where a lot of my stories might lie, because some old timers like us, we have a lot of stories, and I want to share some of those with you. And I hope I'm not like some of my old teachers who repeat the same story again and again and again. One of the ways that I try to prevent that is I actively practice. So I'm actively working with clients. So I'm actively gathering new stories. I am actively honing my skills, one as a therapist, but two as an EMDR therapist, which I think is very important. We will probably also talk throughout how I detour a little bit from the standard protocol. Don't tell anybody, right? But I do detour a little bit. All right. So you've completed weekend 1 or weekend 2, and you've done your consult hours, and you have a certificate that says that you are basic trained and you're interested in getting certified. Well, certified is a process, and it's not required by any means. You're not going to make any extra money from the insurance companies or for anything like that. It really just means that you're certified, and certification really just means that you understand how to use the standard protocol of EMDR, so that 8-phased approach in EMDR. That's really what it means. And in my personal opinion, they throw a lot at us in those first 2 weekends of training. And I know they expect us to start seeing clients using EMDR after weekend 1. Wow. And I did it. I tried it. And I am so thankful that I had a client who gave me lots of grace as I stuttered and looked at my manual in session. And thankfully, I had prepared that client, and that client was more than willing to be my guinea pig. And I was able to work with many clients since that time. So when you sit down with me, we are going to be talking about the standard protocol. You may be with me in an individual, or you may be with me in a group setting. And I'm excited to be able to do that work with you and teach you something that I think blows our minds in weekend 1 and 2. There's so much information, and we just want to learn how to apply it, the standard protocol. But then what do we do when it's complex PTSD? What do we do when it's a dissociative process? What do we do when it's co-occurring with addiction? And what do we do when there's attachment issues? And what do we do when we can't find a target? And oh my God, this is hard. Yes, it is very hard. And I'm excited to be able to walk through this process with you. And so consultation versus supervision. Supervision, right, means that I share responsibility with you on this client, meaning that I share liability. I'm going to check over your files. I'm going to be your administration supervisor, and I am going to hold lots of responsibility for your client. That's a clinical supervisor, right? And you and I are going to have some case staffings, and we've worked in a variety of different environments. Sometimes we know that is more admin specific, and sometimes we have a supervisor who's going to be more clinical specific. But that's the nature of supervision, is we hold responsibility and liability for your clients. Consultation is not like that. Consultation means that I may get some of the details of your clients, not identifiable, but the details of your clients, but not all the details. It's just enough for me to know where are we at in the standard protocol, where are you getting stuck, and how can I help unstuck you, right? And so we may just focus in on, right, one part of the protocol and how you might adapt it to that specific client's needs. And we may often stay really high, right, high up, in the concept of just talking about standard protocol. And so that's consultation versus supervision. Now, I'm really big in you learning the standard protocol because I believe that if you can really get comfortable, and I wanted to say perfected, there's something, you probably even heard a stutter in my voice because I really wanted to say, once you perfect the standard protocol, and I'm like, do we ever do that? I don't think we ever do that, but I think we get really comfortable with the standard protocol and we get good at applying it. And that's what I want you to have, is I want you to be very comfortable in the standard protocol. So when a client comes at you with their humanness, because they're unique. We see people from all different backgrounds, socioeconomic and ethnicities and sexual orientation, just the variety of people that come into our offices and they don't fit in the standard protocol. Humans, right? That's the way it is. And so I want to teach you how to be comfortable in the protocol and then teach you how to apply the protocol to human beings and to be able to sit with them. And to be able to be client-centered, truly client-centered, and not try to beat the protocol over their heads until they fit. We don't want that, okay? We want you to be able to adapt to the client's needs, to the client that is in front of you, right? To go back to some of the basics that we learned, which is, how do I be empathetical? How do I sit with a client and have this safe place for them? Right? Not try to demand that they fit into my protocol, but truly just sit with them so they feel heard, so they know that they're seen by you. That's going to be very important for me, right? That I teach to you, right? Or at least influence you on. I will be very, very honest when I'm on my soapbox versus when I am on the standard protocol. You will know that this is Joe's opinion, or you will know that this is Francis Shapiro's standard protocol, right? That's going to be important to me that I tell you the difference, because I don't want you to go out and be like, I'm a little Joe. No. I may have my influence, and I'll tell you where my influence is, and you can take that with a grain of salt. But when you leave the time with me, you're going to be comfortable with the standard protocol. And so that's very important. Part of that is I'm going to make you do something kind of scary. The first part is easy. Right? Let's write up a case presentation. That's easy stuff. We could all do that, right? The second part is hard. It's because I'm going to want you to record yourself in a session. I haven't done that since I was an intern. When my EMDR consultant said I had to do that, I was a little nervous. I thought I was pretty good. And then I recorded myself and I'm like, ooh, that doesn't look so good. But I did it. I applied the standard protocol okay, and it got picked apart, and I learned so much. Learned so much about myself. Yeah, it was hard. I was nervous. My consultant doesn't bite. She doesn't hit. She's really good at what she does, right? And she taught me so much in that moment. And my hope is to be able to do that for you as well. I want you to see your mistakes. I want you to see where you're getting it right. Because what do I want? I want you to be comfortable in the standard protocol. You've heard me say this a few times already. I also want you to know how to be comfortable in adapting the standard protocol to your clients. And so I am influenced by several people that detour in big ways from the standard protocol. And so I will get on my soapbox, or I will clearly identify when I'm going outside of that protocol. So you know, and you can take it with a grain of salt, and I will cite my source because I think that's important, right? You want to know where I got that from. And so we'll talk a lot about that. Now, what are some of my interests? Yeah, I work a lot in complex PTSD. That's just a fact of my practice. And I'm okay that if I see 15 clients a week and they all have complex PTSD, I'm okay with that. I work with a lot with attachment issues. That's going to be an area that I hang out more and more with. Those are, the two big ones. I'm okay with working with somebody who is in that dissociative process. So that's more than just the avoidance criteria within PTSD. Those are areas that I hang out with in mighty ways. I'm okay with working with a client that has a lot of addiction issues. And I'll talk about how we can adapt our approach with somebody who's actively in addiction. I work with a lot within sexuality. And not disorientation, but people that are struggling within the intersection between trauma and sexual expression, or just sexuality in and of itself. And so I'm okay with talking about sex actively, not just sex education, right? But actually talking about how does trauma get in the way of being a sexual human. And so those are areas that I hang out in often. That doesn't mean I'm going to talk about sex in every conversation, but understand that that might be a part of my lens and how I interact with clients. And that's okay. So I'm hoping that you have watched this video before you have hit the little contact button to ask me questions about certification, so you know what you're getting into. And my hope is that I get to meet you, and you're going to be in one of my individual sessions, or you're going to be in one of my group sessions. And I get to walk with you through that process until you get certified. So to understand all the policies and procedures of certification, you go to the website, which is the Indrima website. You go to the certification page, and it'll walk you through the CEUs that you need. It'll walk you through the hours that you need, the paperwork you need, and the fees that you got to pay. Right? And so we will definitely walk through that together. I look forward to meeting you. Feel free to message me, though, at any time if you have questions. I love to talk with you, and we'll go from there. All right. You have a great day, or a great evening, or a great weekend. Bye-bye.